If you've wondered what supplements to take for gut health and overall health, I've got you. I'm Erin Harner, gut health, IBS, and SIBO coach, and I want to share with you some of my favorite supplements. Now stick around because I'm not just going to be sharing the categories, I'm also going to be showing exact products with you so you can see what might be right for you. And there's a couple things that I want to share with you first before I jump right in. The first thing is that I am a food first kind of person. So I believe strongly in food as medicine, and I believe that supplements should supplement a healthy diet. Now, many people with gut issues, gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, stomach pain, cramping, reflux, you name it, have a lot of aversions to different foods and food triggers. And what happens is we start to cut out different categories of foods, and this can leave holes in our diet. Now, I'm also a believer in having the widest variety diet possible with the least amount of symptoms. So I want you to focus first on food. And secondly, make sure you work with a provider who can support you figuring out what supplements will help you best. I'm going to share some of my favorite supplements that I take personally, and also I've used with hundreds and over 1,000 clients in my 16 years of doing this work in functional medicine and nutrition and as a registered dietitian. All right, so I want to jump in, but I do want to put this caveat. Not everybody needs all of these supplements that I'm going to share with you. You need to make sure that you know what supplements are going to work for you for specific situations. Not all of these are going to be supplements that are long-term supplements. Many of them are short-term supplements for a very specific purpose, and then you stop. And I'm not a believer that people need to be on shopping bags full of supplements long term. Today, I'm going to walk you through my top recommendations and explain exactly why and who might benefit from each of these different categories, as well as some of my specific products that I know and love. First up, we're going to start with a quality multivitamin. So when I think of quality multivitamins, multiminerals as nutritional insurance. They help fill nutritional gaps in the diet. We have depleted soil. We don't necessarily have a whole huge amount of variety in our diet, especially people with gut issues who have cut out certain categories of food might be missing different nutrients that are essential for the body to function and for the body to heal. So who multivitamins are for? I would say most adults. Now, when I'm thinking about looking at a multivitamin, I like to look for methylated B vitamins or B vitamins in their active form. I like to look for proper vitamin D levels. I like to look for the different forms of minerals. Are these manufactured minerals? Are they chelated minerals? How absorbable are the minerals? Because if we have a poor quality multivitamin, sometimes we joke that it's expensive urine. You're just going to take it in and it's just going to go right back out because your body can't really utilize the forms that you're taking. So I would say quality over price here is very, very important. All right, a couple of my favorites. One is Pure Encapsulations, one multivitamin. A little hard to see there with the light, but Pure Encapsulations one, this is a one a day. It's a capsule. It's a really, really great multivitamin. This one is NBI. This is the Supreme multivitamin, another really good one. Another single one a day. This is the one that I take personally. This is Nutrient 950 by Pure Encapsulations. And Nutrient 950 is great because you can pick and choose what things you want in there and what things you don't want in there. And if you don't know what those are, it's really important that you work with somebody who does. So this one doesn't have copper, iron, and iodine because those are things that I don't want to have in my diet at the moment. All right, next up, we have omega-3 fish oils. So omega-3s, you can get omega-3s from fish oil. You can get omega-3s from algae sources. I'm going to talk about the fish oils right now because there's an imbalance in most people between the omega-6s and the omega-3 fats. We don't get enough omega-3 fats. We get too many omega-6s, which shifts the ratio. So how do we start to balance it out without eating fish every single day of the week? We start to increase our EPA and DHA levels in our diet by adding in some omega-3 fatty acids. So two of my favorites are Nordic Naturals Pro Omega Plus D. I like the D added in there because it's an extra source of vitamin D, so I don't have to take more vitamin D. So I do like that. It's one less supplement. So they have this with D, without D. This is a great one. We can also see the Best Catch Omegas by NBI, also an excellent one. These are both very high potency. This is 1,500 milligrams EPA and DHA in 2 capsules. This one is about 2,000 EPA and DHA in 2 capsules. So very, very high potency. You're going to get a much higher potency EPA, DHA in a smaller number of capsules with a high potency product. Yes, they're more expensive, but there's more bang for your buck because there's more in there. Something else that I really like to use is like the Omega Quant Kit. This is an omega-3 index panel that allows you to do a finger poke, put it on a little card, ship it in the mail, and a couple weeks later, you'll get an email with your results. And what those results are going to tell you is your omega-3 index scores. How many omega-3s do you have compared to the omega-6s? And what that helps me do is figure out how many of these I need to take on a daily basis. So that can be something really helpful. There are ways to actually test omega-3 levels. Next up is magnesium. Now, magnesium is not something that everyone needs to take, but I am going to share with you that it is the most common mineral deficiency in America and North America. It supports muscle relaxation, sleep, digestive function, energy production, stress response, so many different things. It's incredibly pervasive. And if you don't have enough magnesium, a lot of those things aren't going to work very well. So who's it for? Those with constipation can really benefit from certain forms. Those with muscle tension, stress, restless leg syndrome, all sorts of things, sleep issues, insomnia can really benefit from magnesium. And I did another video where I explained lots of different types of magnesium and what each individual type is good for. But I'm going to share 2 varieties with you today that are 2 of my favorites for people with gut issues, particularly constipation or slow motility. The first one is going to be magnesium citrate. This is pure encapsulation mag citrate, which is what I often recommend. They come in individual capsules and you can just kind of increase or decrease depending on what the needs are. Next up, we have magnesium or magnesium glycinate. If you're wondering, why are there so many different forms of magnesium? It's because they all have magnesium bound to something else. In this case, magnesium is bound to citric acid. In this case, magnesium is bound to glycine. Magnesium malate, magnesium plus malic acid, threonate, and the list goes on and on. You can get where I'm going with this. So there's lots of different types of magnesium, and they're good for different purposes. So you want to make sure you match the magnesium type to what you're looking for. And one reason that I really like magnesium for digestion is because it helps relax the digestive muscles and improve transit time, which can be very beneficial. Next up, we have quality fibers. Another thing that us Americans don't get a lot of, North Americans don't get a lot of recommendations for fiber from our diet is typically about 25 grams for women and 35 grams for men. I often try to push that up a little bit, all the way up to about 50 grams per person per day. Then we will have better bowel movements, more benefits from the fiber. Fibers feed the gut bacteria. They help bind toxins and take them out of our digestive tract. They help lower cholesterol. There's so many benefits of fiber. And when I'm talking about the benefits of fiber, I'm specifically talking about food fibers. Now, if you have a limited diet, if you have a lot of food triggers, if you eat a whole bunch of vegetables and you find that it gives you a lot of gas and bloating and other digestive problems, we might need to back off a little bit on the food fibers and incorporate some fibers that are supplemental, that we can control the quantities and the amounts, and when we're taking them a little bit better than with the food fibers. So sometimes I like to add some fibers into the diet for very specific purposes. Not for everybody, but for some people, they can be very, very helpful. So a couple of my favorite fibers, this one is sun fiber. This is the brand Tomorrow's Nutrition. This one is great. This is sun fiber, which is partially hydrolyzed guar gum, or PHGG, you might also see on the label. Another one, which actually contains sun fiber, is this Thorn Fiber Mend. I also really like this one. But this one has a lot more ingredients. So if someone who was really sensitive to fibers, I probably wouldn't start with this one. This one is great for more of a maintenance plan if you're not getting enough fiber in your diet, or if you need the fiber to go to the bathroom regularly with smooth, soft bowel movements 1 to 3 times a day. So the next category I'm going to lean into here is creatine. So creatine is actually one of the most researched supplements on the market. It is incredibly potent and powerful for energy, for muscle, for cognitive function, for bone maintenance, bone density maintenance. If you're weight training, like so many of us want to weight train, we want to build muscle, we want to increase our metabolism, we want to prevent frailty into old age, and we're lifting weights 2 to 3 times per week. Creatine can be tremendously beneficial to help with recovery and to help with muscle gain. Not just for bodybuilders, I promise. Creatine can be incredibly helpful. This is Thorn creatine. This is one of my favorites. I just take a scoop and I mix it in with my smoothie on pretty much a daily basis. It doesn't really taste like anything. It's really easy to incorporate. However, you want to make sure that the supplements you're taking are matched to what you need. So many people don't realize the cognitive and the energy benefits of creatine, but I'm not one of those. I'm a big fan of creatine. Next up, we have Promotility supplements. Now, I did say I was going to talk about supplements and products, but I'm a food first type person, so I pulled some ginger out of my freezer. And ginger is one of my favorite promotility agents. So when we're talking about promotility, we're thinking about food moving from mouth all the way through our digestive tract too slowly. So if we want to speed it up, ginger is one of my favorite herbs to help speed things up and increase motility. Ginger is very calming. It's very soothing to the stomach, helps with nausea, helps with so many things. So you can make a cup of ginger tea. You can cook with ginger. There's so many things that you can use ginger for. You can also buy ginger teas. This is just one example of a combination tea. This is Tulsi with turmeric and ginger. I really like this one. It's delicious. And you can also do ginger in supplements. Straight up ginger supplements, ginger tinctures, or also something like this product from Microbiome Labs called MegaGuard, which is a combination of ginger plus artichoke leaf extract and licorice, which have their own benefits. So this is what I would consider a pro-motility supplement. I often like to use food here, as you can tell. Next up, we have gut repair powders. So when we're thinking about gut repair powders, there's so many on the market that you can choose from. I am very partial to just a few because I've seen them work over and over and over again to be very beneficial. When we're thinking about gut repair, we're thinking about soothing everything from top to bottom. It could be the stomach, the small intestine, the colon, smoothing everything, putting a nice coating or making things softer or smoother on the outside so that stool can pass more easily. And some of the hallmark herbs we're thinking about here are things like DGL licorice, we're thinking about aloe vera, L-glutamine, zinc carnosine, lots of different options. And there are so many on the market, it can be very confusing. You can do straight up things like L-glutamine. This is from SFI Health, the formerly Claire Labs. Really nice product if you're looking for straight up L-glutamine. One of my personal favorites is called GI Revive by Designs for Health. This one is a combination of lots of different herbs, including L-glutamine, glucosamine, citrus pectin, DGL licorice, aloe vera extract, slippery elm, mucin, marshmallow, chamomile, okra, cat's claw, MSM, quercetin, and prune powder. So many of those herbs you can find in individual combinations, or this happens to include many of them all in one formulation. There's also options like this one. This is by Traditional Medicinals. This is called Throat Coat Tea. And I know we're talking about the whole GI tract, and it's called Throat Coat, but I really like this one because it helps coat the whole digestive tract from top to bottom. And it uses many of those demulcent herbs that I just described, like slippery elm and licorice and marshmallow root, so that many of those combinations are not in a pill or a capsule or a powder, but actually in a tea that you can steep and enjoy. So I just went through 7 different categories of my favorite supplements for gut health and beyond. I hope you found something useful here. And I just want to put a couple caveats out. First caveat, start with food, add supplements as needed, and work with someone who knows your health history. Work with someone who understands supplements and herbs and the actions and what you need them for. So don't just willy-nilly take a whole bunch of supplements. You don't need all of these supplements that I just described, most likely. We need to find out what works for you.